Hey.
And we are live. It's a duo tonight. We might be joined by Pinky Don, we might not. But before we go any further, I'll let the lady introduce herself.
Salutations, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Joy Moonstar, and it's about time we get into some movie news.
Yes. But before we do, I'm going to introduce myself. It's Mr. Red Fox here. Mr. Red Fox, owner and proprietor of BS Busters, if you will. So let's get some housekeeping out of the way first. I'm trying a new format thing. So if you want to get in contact with me for future endeavors or anything like that, you can reach me at Mr. Red Fox, BS Busters, all lowercase, at gmail.com. That's right. I have an official Gmail for this channel. And if you want to reach me via Twitter, you can get Matthew Wesley at Mr. Red Fox 91. So that's right, folks. Mr. Red Fox is going big time. So yeah, you can reach me there with topics. You can reach me there with
ideas?
Well, mostly topics. Mostly topics, really. Just mostly just topics. Yeah. And if you want to see a visual of that, yes, I actually do have visuals.
So he isn't just talk. Sorry there.
No, it's... Damn you! No, trying to do my screen share, and there we go. Here, you can reach me here at mrredfox@gmail.com. Matthew Wesley. That's a space between the Matthew and the Wesley. That's with 2 T's in the Matthew. And the Wesley spelled Wesley at Mr. Red Fox 91. So there you go, folks. That's what you need to do if you want to get in touch with the channel. You know, if you have ideas for us to go further, questions, comments, concerns, or you're just lonely and you want to talk, that's where you got to go. So without much ado, let's get into it. So we got some movie news because, you know, this is the Sci-Fi Power Hour-ish, and this is directly related to movies and television. Black Panther has continued its kicking everything's ass.
I'm surprised the Avengers haven't lost their spots.
Oh, the first Avengers film did. Technically speaking, financially speaking, Black Panther kicked every other super team's ass. It kicked Black Panther. T'Challa kicked Batman's ass, Wonder Woman's ass, Superman's ass.
World.
He's definitely gonna kick Aquaman's ass, the Suicide Squad's ass. Basically, what I'm saying is,
no one in DC is safe from Black Panther.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. No one is safe. He even kicked Iron Man's ass. Black Panther has made more movie than every Iron Man film domestically right now. Tony Stark's like, I talk mad shit. Really? Really, bro? You wanna go there? Okay. I find this hilarious. I'm literally, I'm glad that, and here's the hilarious thing about this. Marvel had to be cajoled, begged, threatened, beaten, just, begged to make this film. And here we are. So there you go, folks.
The people demanded, and they get something good.
Well, I mean, I got nothing to say.
For me, I'm actually impressed because, to be honest with you, I wasn't sure if Black Panther would actually be made, but I didn't expect it to hit those high numbers, especially when you consider who are the usual heavy hitters.
I'm not. Because Black Panther is a legitimately good movie. Is it perfect? No. But like, okay, the movie is good, and then the cultural significance of the film.
I mean, considering the lore and all.
Well, I mean, lore-wise, I mean, like, here's the thing: most of the lore about Black Panther was constructed after he was introduced, comic book wise, because he came out. He was here's why the Fantastic Four is so important. Some of the best characters in Marvel history popped up in Fantastic Four. They started in Fantastic Four, and then after that, they got their own spinoffs. Like, you know, but the first time Black Panther came about, he was a badass because he basically tricked the Fantastic Four to come into Wakanda, and he basically hunted them. He created devices that specifically targeted their weak spots and hunted them, and was going to kill all four of them.
They somehow took out the thing.
Yep.
Got the torch put out.
Yep.
Found the Invisible Girl.
Yep.
And contained Mr. Fantastic.
Yep.
The stretchy one.
Yep. He got all of the Fantastic Four. And the only reason he was defeated was because Reed Richards' intern, just some random guy, went with him. He didn't have any powers, and he just sabotaged the master computer that controlled all little devices, and that's how they were able to get out. And they were about to kick T'Challa's ass, but some smooth talking on his part, he got out of it. But think about that. This dude by himself basically decides, I'm going to go hunting, and I'm going to hunt the Fantastic Four. And he came incredibly close to taking them out. Something that Dr. Doom's been wanting to do for years.
I gotta say, that's impressive, scary, and somebody's going to be jelly from that.
Yeah. But with that being said, where do we go from here? So basically, yeah, financially, Black Panther's been kicking ass, taking names, beat down everybody, and I mean every damn body. Just a lot of ass whoopings, which, I'm okay. So much so that I think you're going to see more films that are culturally diverse coming from Hollywood. Knock on wood, if you could hear that.
I heard that one.
Yeah.
All right.
And hopefully we'll have less blackface from Hollywood, or yellowface, where they have a movie that's set in Asian culture with Asian people, but the main character's a white guy.
That is a tricky topic, but probably suited for another one of our days.
Yeah, but that's neither here nor there. Let's move on to the second topic. Some people have speculated, this is another movie topic, that that Aquaman is going to save the DC extended universe. Your thoughts, Jewel? Wow, you took the words out of my mouth.
I'm sorry. You made me laugh so hard. I had to catch my headphones. What was that?
Yeah, well, some people who are DCEU fans think that, Aquaman is going to fix all the problems with the DCEU. They're like, this is going to fix it. It's going to work this time.
Hey guys.
I'm sorry. Pinks, you might want to take over for me for a bit.
It does happen.
She's laughing her rear end off because basically we moved on from the first topic, which was Black Panther has basically obliterated almost every single superhero film in the genre in domestic box office. Yeah, and worldwide, it's kicked every single domestically, worldwide, every single DC film that's come out over the last 5 years has been financially crushed by Black Panther.
Even the Nolan Batman films?
I said within the last 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the last 5 years, not the Nolan films. Although, I mean, to me, I don't really like Nolan's Batman films, so I don't really. I mean, I'm not like, oh my God, it was the best thing ever. I'm like, they actually weren't that good. They were well shot, but I mean, as far as Batman films, they aren't good in my opinion. But that's just me. Our second topic is some DC EU fans and analysts think that Aquaman is going to save the new Aquaman film coming out this year is going to save the DC extended universe, and that's why Jewel was laughing her ass off.
I seriously doubt it.
Yeah, I don't see I'll give my thoughts on it. Basically, the problem with the DCEU, and we've covered this in previous Sci-Fi Power Hour issues. The problem is that they got the wrong person to be the showrunner of it. It was just a series of small bad decisions done over and over and over again, and it just got consecutively worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I understand what you're saying. So
it's like at this point, like the DC extended universe's films to me is like you've caught something in your stomach, like a bug or a virus, and you've got really bad diarrhea. Okay, like really, really bad. Like you can't leave your house. You're literally going from your bed to the bathroom, your bed to the bathroom, occasionally to the kitchen to drink something because you're just losing fluids like mad, back to the bed, to the bathroom. And at a certain point, you reach a point where there's nothing else there's practically nothing left in your stomach or your intestinal tract that can come out.
You're going to be shooting red soon.
There's nothing left, right? Like, so what is left is basically just whatever fluids are flushing whatever's left in your system that was making you sick. The Aquaman movie is that little bit that's left. Okay, for the DCEU.
What about the other attempt for making a new Green Lantern movie or the Flash movie?
Man, there's not going to be a Green Lantern movie. Come on, man. Come on, man. After what we've been going through, come on, man. Let's put it this way: if there's a new Green Lantern movie, I will on air eat. I will eat 4 hard-boiled eggs peeled on air. Recorded.
If Aquaman could do that to you,
no, if they make another Green Lantern movie, I will do that.
I actually worry how bad it's going to turn out.
No, it's probably going to be competently shot, but here's the thing. At this point, like there's so many bad DCEU films that it can't be saved. You know, like basically with the DCEU films, all of the DC fans were like, well, no, the next one will be good. The next one will be good. The next one will be good.
They need a system reboot at this point.
Here's the problem. If you look at some of the best film franchises in history, they never had that problem.
TV shows never had this much of a problem.
Well, no, TV shows are a different thing because a lot of TV shows don't get good until the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th episode. Like the beginning, the pilot kind of sucks, and then once they find their footing, they get better. Movie franchises are different. Like, do you think there would be an Indiana Jones 5 if the first one sucked?
point. But if anything, you got a lot to live up for if you're doing such a legacy, like trying to link movies together.
Like case in point, Watch Dogs 2 is considered to be better than the first one, but because of the first game's reputation, it didn't sell as well.
Well, games are a different kettle of fish. I'm just talking strictly movies. Like the Star Wars is this massive franchise. If A New Hope had been shit, bombed at the box office, there would be no Empire Strikes Back. There would be no Return of the Jedi. People I don't know why people today think we can put out a shitty movie, but we'll build a universe after the fact, and people will watch it because it'll get better over time. No. If the first Harry Potter film had been shit, no one would have watched it.
And if the original Harry Potter was BS, then that would explain what's prequels would be.
I don't know. I actually like the prequels.
And if the first movie flopped, but they still want to continue on with the story, they'll just make the sequels straight to video.
Yeah, but those straight to video films suck.
Yeah.
Let's just straight to video films by and large pretty much suck.
Yep. And I would argue that the Netflix original films are in the same category.
Some of them are good. Like Mudbound was pretty good. About people in the deep South, war vets coming back home, one black, one white, and basically realizing that they're suffering PTSD. Plus, the black vet has to deal with racism in the deep South. It's actually a pretty good film. Netflix. But here's the thing: Netflix's films, they're done on a budget, but they're more akin to like small tier films, like actual films that would be in a movie theater, except it's not in a movie theater, it's on Netflix, so you can watch it on Netflix. And they aren't trying to be pretentious or anything like that. They're just trying to provide entertainment, if you will. And plus they can afford to take more of a creative risk, if you will, because I think they keep their budgets on the lower end of the spectrum. But my God, like the DCEU films, Jesus, like Man of Steel costs like $250 million, right? And then you add another 7,500 for marketing, so $350 million. It didn't do that well. It was supposed to be $1 billion movie. It wound up making like 713 million. Like it didn't make its money back. Well, it didn't make what they wanted to make, but they took that money and immediately put in for other films, which was their first. Well, their first mistake was getting Zack Snyder. Their second mistake was like making some really shitty version of Superman.
Right.
Yes, I said that Henry Cavill's a shitty version of Superman.
And this is the reason why you need a good foundation in order to build a basement or a building.
Yeah. Think of it like this. Let's say you're baking a cake, but instead of you getting good flour, you get flour that's filled with weevils and bugs. Don't be surprised your cake sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not unless you're one of those people who have a taste for bugs.
Yeah, but even they aren't eating cakes with bugs in them. Like they eat bugs like straight up. I've had chipolinas, which are these small little roasted grasshoppers from Mexico. They're actually pretty good. But I have nothing against people eating bugs. But typically speaking, when people eat bugs, you know what it is. And it's not because the food is bad. It's because, you're meant to eat that bug. But that's neither here nor there. Let's move on to the second topic. The third topic, which is...
it's something that I probably mentioned before you came in.
Yeah, Jewel mentioned this, so I'll let her...
And this is probably something that bugs a lot of people when trying to talk about about comparison in arts. Would you consider animated films be near equal or a certain quality towards live action movies?
Uh, well, let's see. If we go by Roger Ebert's logic, if it's not a video game, then it's considered an art. So that includes animation.
Okay. Jewel, your thoughts?
For me, it depends really, because art is a real subjective item. Even in video games, I consider it subjective.
I mean,
And
there's good art and bad art.
of course, just like there's such a thing as good movies and bad movies.
Yeah, and it's very subjective on what's good and what's bad, because there are people that would argue that a film that most film goers would call universally bad, there are people who like it, and there are films that people might say are universally good. There are people who are like, yeah, that movie sucked. So it's very subjective.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to aim for a certain audience. Good luck
Yeah,
on that front.
yeah.
So in short, I do consider cartoon movies to be near on par with full and with full human movies. But I'm sorry if I'm getting tongue tied here.
Yeah, I remember from that video regarding Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs being snowed from the Oscars because it couldn't compare to live action movies at the time.
Yeah, but I was saying that if anything, it has to work with certain demographics because, well, think of it. If you're trying to aim for older audience with animation, you might want to consider what topics you're aiming for.
Well, I'm about to say something that's gonna make you people upset. I don't think that animated film can be treated the same as live action.
I say it depends on the topic or who's making it really, but
well,
that kind of soured the pool.
yeah, I know some people are going to get mad. Allow me to explain myself before people get angry, okay?
So at least if anything, I'm wanting to know how come.
I'll tell you what. Because each version of film has its strengths and weaknesses, and you can't compare the two to each other because their strengths and weaknesses are not equal. Like a really good film that has a really emotional punch to it, and you ask, well, why is it emotional? It's a combination of the actors acting, them emoting. Like, I don't care how good an animated or CGI animated or traditional hand-drawn animated film is. It's really hard for someone to emote through a picture. Like, pictures can show an emotion, but it's hard for someone to emote. Like, you feel the emotions that they're going through. Like, I don't know.
The phrase "a
What's a
picture
film
or
that has
worth
a
a
lot
thousand
of?
words" comes to mind on that, but
I mean, I'm just talking from a biological perspective. Like, as a human being, we can look at someone who's crying, and we can look at their face, and we can see from how their eyes look and how their facial expressions are. We can deduce why they're crying. Like, if it's actual physical pain they're suffering, or is it emotional? It's really hard to convey that with an animated thing. It's like, it looks weird, someone crying in anime, or it's hand drawn. It's like, it just looks kind of inhuman, almost like eh, it's not quite real.
as I said, that would depend on who's doing it for me. But I can understand your point.
Wouldn't that depend if the animated film was reaching uncanny valley territory with how hyper realistic the characters look?
No, not just that. It's just a physically animated film just has stuff going down that's just very, like, animation. Just
It's hard to
like
it's hard to pinpoint it precisely, but it's like a feel to it.
well, I mean, it's not just that. It's like, okay, an actor who is acting, like, Like, let's say you go and you look up some of like the top 100 actors performances of actors, right?
Right.
Or like acting, theater, like acting. The film industry is an offshoot of Broadway and people doing things in theater. It's the evolution of theater. There is not a cartoon or animated film or anything like that. I don't care. Even Andy Serkis. There is no anime or manga or CGI thing, no matter how emotional the story may be, no matter how much it may touch you. That scene, it has emotional that may have a huge amount of emotional resonance. I'll give you an example. The movie Up, the first 10 minutes of the movie Up. For those of you who haven't watched it, I feel sorry for you, but like the first 10 minutes of the movie Up, you see why this crotchety old man is the way he is. And it's really heartbreaking, right?
Right.
But that same thing, if it was shown live action in theater with those same actors, like you had, I forgot the guy who plays, who was Lou and Mary Tyler Moore, I forgot the guy's name. But like, if you had the same actors, his acting would be probably more impactful because he's a physical person and not essentially a cartoon character. Even though the events are real, like there are people who have to go through that type of heartbreak. There are people who have to go through those types of emotional things. Just because it's a physical person and it's easier to empathize with a physical person than it is with a cartoon character.
I don't know. When I watch War Horse, I've seen some people in their reviews how they feel emotional, how they feel so emotional towards the horse than the people.
Well, yeah, because biologically humans are predisposed to have empathy with things that are cute and have faces that can convey emotion. Like they've done scientific studies where they said that like people showed like 3 creatures that were aggravated or in pain, and the number 1 creature that they felt sorry for was a puppy. Number 2 creature was a baby, and the number 3 creature I think was a kitten. Like, and you notice puppies have like it's the reason why anime creatures have those big eyes and kind of small heads, and like like you're biologically predisposed to like those certain features and to feel empathy with those types of features. There's a science behind it, people. There's science, damn it, science.
Weird science.
Yeah, there's actually science, but I mean, like, but there's things that animated film, whether it be computer animated or traditional hand drawn, can do that you can't do in live action. Like, you can have something tremendously violent happen to someone in an anime or a manga or a CGI or whatever, and they just shrug that shit off. I mean, how many times has Daffy Duck been hit with an anvil or blown
You really
up
want me to count?
or shot in the face with a shotgun? Now, you do that in live action, someone's going to die. Like, you can't be like, well, they're fine. No, they're dead. Because there's a certain level of reality that has to be acknowledged in film versus rules of reality. Yeah, rules of reality can be ignored in animation. It's the reason why in anime you can have some of the most insane action sequences because they defy physics or laws
or the most disproportionate body anatomies.
Well, that's true, but it also just defies physics. It's like okay, the bigger a creature is, the slower it moves because it's so huge and gravity and mass and all that stuff. But
so you can argue that even live action destroys the laws of physics by having giant guys in rubber monster suits representing giant monsters that gravity should have killed them because of their own weight.
Of course, and they did have to move slowly in the thing, but the way they got around that through film was by speeding up the footage when they were moving around, so it looked like they were moving faster. Yeah, I mean, look, listen, I'm simply saying that they each have their own strengths and weaknesses, so you can't really, like animated film versus live action film, although they have similar roots, like you both have stories and protagonists and a beginning, middle, and an end. Like their strengths and weaknesses and structures are so different when you get down to the roots of it that you can't really compare them the same. It's like apples and oranges. They're both fruits, but
they taste different.
Well, not just that. They're both fruits, but they have a lot of different things. Like an apple is an apple is the germinated blossom of the apple tree, whereas an orange is a berry. Orange is in fact a
so it's a difference
berry.
between a flower and a fruit.
Yeah, I mean they're both delicious. They're both delicious. They're both great to eat. They both have seeds. But it's like you'll never confuse an apple for an orange or an orange for an apple, and that's why I say it's kind of like people. I understand a lot of people get angry. They're like, "Well, this animated film should have been up for an Oscar." Yeah, that's cool, but I mean, what about the myriads of Oscar-worthy films that had people who were acting their asses off, that shits all over the acting that was in that animated film?
I'm gonna say it depends on who's making the animation for it, but otherwise, I get your point.
Like I know a lot of people get angry. They're like, "How dare you? How dare you say that? Don't you like?" I mean, I like animated things, and there's animated things where I'm like, man, I felt this should have been like. I think WALL-E should have won an Oscar. I think Up should have won an Oscar.
As I said, it depends on who's making it, because if you get down to the basics of it, if you got somebody that made a good quality film, be it animation or live action, then the better film is supposed to be the one that gets on top.
Yeah, but I mean that's just me. That's my own, I mean, I know some people are going to get mad, but I mean, like I said, it also seems kind of weird that they don't, like, the thing that gets me is that, like, an animated film does not have to go through the same type of rigors that a physical film would, like actual shot with live actors. Like, you don't have a special effects budget for a live action film that you would have for an animated film. All you have, the only limit to an animated film is what you can imagine and put into the animation.
Yeah, but as I said, there is differences in the two. But as far as I said, if you got a good lead and crew, then the two can actually stand side by side. Though it's going to be tricky trying to put one over the other, if anything, because, well, there's going to be a bias on that.
Well, yeah. I mean, it boils down to subjectivity. I was just giving you my points on, why I felt that certain things just were kind of more, like, I gave my points more, like, kind of like what Pinky said, like, people who were in rubber suits, or, like, to me, someone making a film with a guy in a rubber suit or using stop motion animation, like Ray Harryhausen, is like, because they physically made a model and they did frame by frame by frame. Like, that's more impressive to me than someone just drawing the shit. But that's where my subjectivity comes in. Because I understand kind of like I know drawing is a bitch. I mean, it is, because just like stop motion animation is literally, you're doing like minute millimeter type movements, frame by frame by frame by frame to show movement. The same thing's being done on the same scale animation, with frames of animation. So I know in that regard that's a lot of similarity, but I give more points to someone who has to, because there's no limits with animation. Like, in animation, you can have a gigantic robot the size of a planet eating another planet, and in animated, the shit looks cool. Now, if you did that live action, it would look kind of stupid if you didn't have the right way to do it live action wise. You know, it would look ridiculous, and our brain would tell us this is weird.
And you can understand the reason why I'm asking that question, right?
No. I guess because a film got snubbed for the Oscars that was animated.
No, it would be because of what's coming.
What?
Which is likely if the Avengers versus Thanos.
Oh, yeah, Infinity War.
Huh?
I mean, yeah, but that's not animated. That's a CGI character that's going to be. You're going to have they're probably going to be doing the same thing they did with what's his name, Andy Serkis in Planet of the Apes, where it's just mocap. It's a lot of mocap.
This is where I say that that lines are starting to blur a little because you're getting this near the realm of animation, but still keeping it in the realm of live action.
Yeah, I mean, mocap is kind of the bastard child of animation and acting.
As I said, you're in animation.
Because of Uncanny Valley territory.
No, not really so much Uncanny Valley. It's just like basically, Uncanny Valley is where it looks so realistic that it's like your brain knows there's something wrong, but it looks so realistic that you can't quite pinpoint what it is. That's Uncanny Valley. Mocap is where basically, like they use the actors and they use the actors' movements and stuff. So like when you see someone walking around, you know that's the actor, but they don't look like the actor. Like they,
yeah, like it looked like a different character.
Well, they look different, but that's the person. Kind of like in Thor Ragnarok, Taika Waititi was the rock guy. And it's like, I've seen Taika Waititi, I've met Taika Waititi, and I've seen how he walks. And the guy walks just like Taika Waititi, but the body is this rock guy. Cord. This is rock guy. And it's like, that's Taika Waititi, but he's, it's like, it's very...
He seems off.
Yeah, something's kind of off about it. Or they did Benedict Cumberbatch playing Smaug in that shitty Peter Jackson Hobbit movie. Like that. I mean, there's nothing uncanny about that, but it's like it's easier for the actor to portray their movements and do facial movements and stuff like that. So, I mean, I can understand why live action would be really cool. Let's move on to the fourth topic. That was a really good topic, Joel. We had a great discussion. Thank you for bringing it up. The main topic, and this is one that I've been looking forward to for quite some time. We are talking about old cartoons, and when I say old, I mean 60s, 70s, maybe even 50s, that need to be rebooted.
This one I had to think a little before I make my choice.
Okay, I'll go first. Since it was my topic. My idea is, let's reboot Johnny Quest.
I have a feeling you would go there.
Yeah, let's reboot Johnny Quest. Let's reboot Johnny Quest. Except here's my idea for a reboot of Johnny Quest. Johnny Quest always kind of dealt with it was like kind of like a spy, scientific, gadget-filled adventure for
it's like James Bond meets Indiana Jones.
Yeah, with kids.
Yeah,
and I mean, I always thought, wow, but the stories in Johnny Quest always dealt with subject material that, even though it was a kid's cartoon, it was like some of the stuff in Johnny Quest was really messed up, and I'm like, I don't really think this should be in a kid's cartoon. Like people being murdered and people being replaced with doppelgangers and espionage, and like,
there's some things that are WTF.
It was like, damn. Those people straight up got murdered. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if Netflix or Hulu or Amazon were to make a Johnny Quest animated series, but rated the equivalent of rated R for animated series. That's set like Johnny Quest when he grew up. Like, I don't mean he's a teenager. I don't mean he's a grown ass man. You can have Johnny Quest as a grown ass man, like Haji grew up, because Haji is his adopted brother. And like you could explore what would happen if Johnny Quest grew up, and he's kind of like hates the world because his father's nemesis killed his mother, and and he lost his dog. He's estranged from his adopted brother and his father. Like, he's just not. Maybe Johnny Quest is a super genius himself, but he's kind of a disappointment to his dad because he does things that he's just maybe he's a drug addict. I don't know.
Had to go use the restroom. So
go ahead.
Well, at the moment, I was also thinking about which cartoon they should reboot.
We'll keep the seat warm for you, but like maybe something like that. Maybe have Johnny. Maybe you're dealing with Johnny's little personal demons, while at the same time, it turns out that Dr. Sin is still up to his own tricks. So you've got to contend with an old enemy, some new enemies, plus personal demons. I think it could be and here's the thing: make it into an anime, so then you can have insane action.
That is actually a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, and the coup de grace of the whole thing was that you would have the daughter of Race Bannon come back, like Race is retired and stuff, and maybe you have Dr. Sin and his new minions chasing after everybody, and they're like, we're gonna get Race Bannon, who's an old man at this point. He's an old man. But like he's still got a little bit of fight left in him because he looks like he's in a wheelchair. Well, he looks like he's in a wheelchair, but then he's got a blanket over his legs, and he's like, "You wouldn't harm an old man." And they're like, "Yeah, we heard about you, Race Bannon." And he's like, you hear a cock, and then the blanket comes off, and he's got a shotgun.
Well, if anything, you could say one thing about Race: he knows when to bring the pain.
Well, Race Bannon knows how to fight. I mean, that sounds like something that Race Bannon would do as an old man. Just have shotguns in his house.
As I said,
tons and tons of guns in his house.
He knows how to bring the pain.
So that's my idea for a reboot of Johnny Quest. It's one of my favorites TV shows. You can do for the pilot episode. You could have basically Johnny Quest dealing with these things, and at the end you could have maybe like Dr. Sin has returned. He's trying to get some new technology that Benton Quest and Haji came up with that basically lets people who are sick or ill get their health back. Maybe if you're really old, you can get your vigor back and stuff.
You can get some movement back in you.
Oh, it can make you whole again. But it's not quite ready. It's not quite perfected yet. But Dr. Sin doesn't care. It's in the beta. He's an evil bastard. And maybe at the end, it turns out that like Benton Quest also uses technology to like create a new Benji, because Johnny really loves his dog, and Benji is Johnny's Snoopy.
Yeah, in a way, it's like bringing back an old friend.
Yeah, except there's no way Benji's gonna live that long because Benji was a pug, and even though pugs live a long time, like Johnny's in his 30s, so no, he's not.
As I said, that would be something to warm our hearts, even iced over.
Yeah, so at the end, like maybe Benton passes away. He's like maybe you have this emotional moment. It's like, well, Dad, you can take this new technology and prolong your life. He's like, yeah, but I'm old. I did everything I wanted to do. I'm just surrounded by my boys. You, Haji. I'm just gonna go in peace. He's like, but I got something for you after I go, and like he like sends this box to his son, and he opens it. And it's a little box with holes in it. He opens it, and it's Benji. it's like a new Benji. It's the same dog, like the same type of dog, looks the same, but I thought that would be a nice way to end the pilot episode. And then after that, you go on the traditional Johnny Quest adventures. So this is rated R, so you can have people get sliced up and eaten, mauled by crocodiles and shit, because, it's an adventure. You gotta
something happens during the adventure.
Yeah, someone has to die.
Or be it close calls or a battle going south.
And because it's animated, they're gonna use the same music from the 60s. So you're gonna have that lame ass Hanna-Barbera recycled action music, but with really good animation. I think that would be cool. But yeah, that's what I would do if I had my druthers with a with a Johnny Quest reboot. That's what I would do. Go, Jewel. It's your turn.
Well, I got two, but I'll go with one out of the fact that it's probably the most iconic for some of us, and personally, in the one for the geek in me. Okay,
well, go.
Reboot. If anything, it would be about working with the new technologies, trying to work with the lore, basically. I would actually want to know about the academy for the virus fighters.
That guy.
Yeah.
For the Guardians.
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
After all, if the Guardians have to go through a lot of BS, like terrible games,
megabyte, hexadecimal
viruses,
yeah,
and the occasional glitch, you gotta know what their training is like.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine where things could go south, like having the entire academy go belly up from a rogue game that's full of glitches, or the ever famous player wins because of some tentacle BS.
Oh, you mean Deus Ex Machina?
Well, the player is usually a Deus Ex, and they have to stop the player.
I would love to see Reboot brought back just so that we could see what happened to those characters. Like, I would like to see what happened to Enzo and Dot Matrix. I forgot that girl's name, Andrea.
Yeah.
The copy of Enzo Matrix they made. Because like Enzo Matrix he lost the game and lost his eye. Like, I would like to see that relationship between like an Enzo Matrix, like Enzo Matrix 2.0, that's like the kid that they made again, and then like the Enzo Matrix that like had to go through all that shit trying to get back to mainframe. Like, I think that would be a really cool thing. Maybe have Bob show up. Maybe have some new characters. Not whatever the fuck that is they're doing on Amazon or Hulu. I forget where it is. That new reboot that looks like garbage.
Oh God!
Does it have any relations to the old one? Like in terms of characters?
It probably could, or at least have them show up every now and then, because as I was saying, I would want to see where the Guardians come from, basically, to expand the lore.
Wouldn't it be cool if you had if you maybe had some new characters because at the end of Reboot, if I remember correctly, basically this super virus destroys destroys the Guardians, their main server, where the Guardians come from. It infects most of the Guardians. So basically, like maybe in the future, the Guardians have to rebuild. So they're recruiting people from all these other sectors. Yeah. So you could have a character like maybe you could maybe just have like you could have that young Enzo that we grew up with. He's going to go and become a Guardian, and then you have Enzo Matrix, who's kind of like an unofficial Guardian, the one who lost his eye. maybe you have him go. They're like, well, you know.
Oh, that's
maybe,
it.
I'm already kind of a Guardian.
By the name Matrix.
Yeah, I'm already kind of a Guardian, but but whatever. So they go and they you can learn about the Guardians, where they come from, how they could let them. They're supposed to be the antivirus defenders, and yet they got infected with a virus. Where glitch comes from. Maybe deal with new viruses, new enemies. I think that could be cool. Because we had megabyte, gigabyte, hexadecimal,
and more.
Oh no, I think those are like the main viruses. Except the thing is that megabyte was incredibly intelligent. He already had infected like half a mainframe. And you had hexadecimal, who in some ways was more powerful than megabyte, but she was crazy. Like she was completely crazy.
And gigabyte?
Gigabyte is what you get when megabyte fused with hexadecimal, because she was like basically originally gigabyte was the main thing, but what happened is that when mainframe was first infected and half of it was taken over, like Dot Matrix and Enzo Matrix's father sacrificed himself in order to deal massive damage to gigabyte, which split him into two entities, hexadecimal and megabyte. Yeah. There's like Reboot has a deep story. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Reboot. Yeah.
And someone was booting up their Switch.
Oh, that's my Switch. And I try to think of what 50s, 60s, and 70s cartoons I've watched in my day, and so far I haven't thought of any cartoons from that decade that could be rebooted.
I'm surprised.
Even the ones I do suggest getting a reboot has already been rebooted once or twice before.
Dang. The only other one that I have is probably a weird one, and probably would make you say, "Huh?" And that would be Top Cat.
Oh yes, because I heard that Top Cat's pretty popular in Mexico.
Top Cat?
I probably enjoy that.
I don't know. I mean,
as I said, that's a weird one.
I like Top Cat, but
he doesn't get that feel, right?
I mean, all he does is like he and his friends just like hang around, and then this cop's always like, "Get out of here, Top Cat," and that's it. Like it just like the whole thing is just like they hang around, and this cop's like, "You got to move." Like,
yeah,
I guess Top Cat's a hustler. Again, his friends are hustlers.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was going to say that I'm probably having that PJ's vibe, trying to.
It's like, yeah, I just don't know how you would bring that character back. I mean, Hong Kong Fu would be easy. You could just make it to kind of a blaxploitation type of comedy thing, which is what it already was back in the 70s. But you could make it really blaxploitation now. Maybe give him an afro.
Oh,
and the
now
joke
I know
is
which
that
one.
He's stuck in the 70s.
Yeah,
like, that's the joke
but
of Hong
now
Kong.
I just realized which one I would try to revive in a sense, and it really deserves a revive since I deserve a season 2 of this thing.
And
IGPX.
You're on your own with that one.
Oh, come on.
That's too recent.
No, IGPX. I watched that. I tried to get into it, but it just, that is rough. That's a hard one to get through.
It's a weird one, I'll say that. But then again, if they actually made it more competent that I actually would say that it would deserve a second season at least.
Well, I was talking about old, but I mean, IGPX, I'll tell you something that's kind of new that, I mean, that's not ultra old that they should reboot.
That is?
The Big O.
Big O.
The Big O. I judge you in the name of God, ye not guilty. Who are you? I'm Roger Smith. Dorothy, get him.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is our fun.
I don't know. The Big O could totally be rebooted. Because basically the Big O was Batman set in a city where people lost their memories, and like there's a deeper story going on beyond that. But I mean, it's basically Batman. Like Roger Smith is Bruce Wayne, Dorothy is his sidekick / Batgirl, and he has a badass butler who would fuck up Alfred Pennyworth because that butler has one eye and has a fucking Gatling gun that he keeps on him. Plus, I don't care how cool the Batmobile is, you can't beat Roger Smith's Mega Deuce, the Big O.
The Mega Deuce? Oh, gods.
And that's its name, a Mega Deuce. That is such a cool name for a mech. What is this? It's called a Mega Deuce. I mean, because if you have a dirty mind, Deuce means shit. And plus, Deuce is just a cool name, so it's a Mega Deuce.
It's hard to ignore how oddly funny that is.
Yeah, it's the Mega Deuce. Big O! Plus, Big O has multiple double entendres. It's just, the show is just really good, and I would like to see it brought back.
That's one show that actually deserves a reboot in a sense when going for something deep and fun.
Like basically the first season came out.
But that depends how often do they reboot modern day anime?
All the time. Basically, every few years they reboot, like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure's been rebooted multiple times. Fist of the North Star's been rebooted multiple times. The spin-offs for Fist of the North Star has been rebooted multiple times. That friggin' blue cat, whose name I forgot.
You mean Doraemon?
Yeah, Doraemon. He's been rebooted multiple times. Crayon Shin-chan. That little bastard always mooning people.
God.
That's his whole thing. He just moons people and pulls down his pants and shows his junk. That's what he does. It's like Crayon Shin-chan is so absurd that that's the joke. It's just this family's all jacked up. But if you ever watched Crayon Shin-chan, it's so irreverent humor. The humor is so
shallow.
No, it's just really like the mom jokes about how she and the dad are into S&M, and the dad's always he's like, well, if you're gonna do that, you can at least use some lube first or warm it up. Don't just shove it in there.
Oh God!
Some of the horrible stuff they do, it's just one of those shows where it's just it's hilarious.
It's hilarious for being as low as it is.
Yeah, it's so absurd. But they rebooted that 3 or 4 times. Shit, what else? Gundam's constantly being new iterations are constantly coming out. Devilman.
Yeah, with the recent Devilman Crybaby.
Devilman. But I think we've hit everything. Anyone else have anything they want to bring up before we wrap things up?
Well, I should mention that I just got back from watching Pacific Rim Uprising.
Oh, really? How was it?
Not as good as the first one.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be good. There was no way it was going to be good, but I had to be cool.
Of course, they left a sequel, a hint for the third movie.
Do we need a third Pacific Rim?
Well, it seems gonna be this might be the last one.
I mean, when I say do we need it, are you really man, I really need to see what happened with giant robots fighting giant monsters.
Yeah, I mean
So long
that's
as it doesn't pull an Evangelion on us.
Well, I don't think that's going to case. We won't see any 40-some-year-old man trying to make it with a 12-year-old girl. So thank God for that.
I would went XLR for some crazy stuff without the BS of that old man.
Look, if I want to see giant robots fighting giant monsters, I'll watch Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, or Terror of Mechagodzilla, or Mechagodzilla's Revenge,
or the '90s version of Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, or
Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2,
or Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, or Tokyo SOS.
Yeah, my point is that I have tons of options to watch giant monsters fight giant machines. Except I root for the monsters because Godzilla's badass as hell. Or at least Heisei Showa and Millennium Godzilla was badass as hell. Current Godzilla, Japanese Godzilla, I'm not feeling it. I'm not really feeling it, sadly.
And of course, the movie's being panned by critics.
What?
Pacific Rim Uprising.
Well, I mean, you knew it wasn't going to be good. I mean, look, it's a campy ass action movie. That's all it is. It's not going to tell any deep story or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, not every monster film can be the deep, epic Transformers. No, I'm joking. Transformers is shit too.
I wish it can, like the original 1954 Godzilla, with its anti-nuclear message.
Yeah, and some weapons are too horrifying to use, but that's neither here nor there. I did not watch a movie this weekend, so I'm glad everyone was here to join us. I'm so happy that people watched us, and rate, comment, share, and subscribe. All that fun jazz. Anything you want to say?
Okay. Has anyone seen Annihilation? Know how good it is?
It's okay. It's got some good body horror to it, but it's not there's not a lot of practical special effects, and so when something fake is on screen, it looks fake. It's like, man, that bear is fake. And I mean, they kind of get around that because they're in this other world type of environment. Like this meteor fell, and this biological entity from the meteor is changing the world around it. And so when things look weird, it's like you kind of let it go because it's supposed to look weird because this biological entity is terraforming things around it from an alien environment to an alien environment. So it kind of makes sense, but film is hard to watch. It's
painful.
And I also read on the ratings that it also contains some nudity. I'm guessing it's going to be body horror nudity.
I don't know. What I remember is just like, okay, like you might see a woman cheating on her husband, and most people don't cheat wearing all their clothes. I mean, nothing really,
Right.
But here's the thing. Look, we're all grown folks here, okay?
Right.
There might be some nakedness. It's Hollywood, so you're never going to see everything. And if you want to see everything, there's films for people who want to see everything. And you're not going to see it in Hollywood unless you're watching one of those art films where someone made it in a foreign country where everything is shown. But generally speaking, Hollywood doesn't make films like that. So, whatever it is whatever it is. Everyone do your sign-offs and we can wrap things up.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to the SciFi Power-ish. It may have went a little over an hour, but we kept it there. And of course, this is Jewel Rider, Eli Moonstar signing off, along with Pinky Don.
Yeah, it's from Video Game Facts. I just got here late because, as I said, I just got back from watching Pacific Rim. So now I have to get back to playing ARMS because there's a Party Crouch event going on.
man, if I had that game, I would totally want to. Well, no, not really. I don't really like arms. But yeah, this is Mr. Red Fox here, letting it out. Glad you guys could join. Rate, comment, share, and subscribe. I already showed you guys the information, but if you want to hear it again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or topic suggestions, or anything you want us to answer live on air, you can reach me at Mr. Red Fox BS Busters at gmail.com. Sorry, BSbuster at gmail.com. And that's all lowercase. Or you can reach me at Matthew Wesley at Mr. Red Fox 91 on Twitter. So there you go, folks. Peace.
He's got media. And beware of orange juice.